Welcome. This is the Town of Darien Sewer Commission regular meeting agenda. You good?
We're good.
Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. at Town Hall. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of July 2nd and the special meeting of July 9th. So first one, July 2nd.
Okay, well, I got a few questions here.
Okay.
Starting on the 2-1/, I guess that's a pod.
Yep.
Yes.
It says, and then 28 and 22 Thorndal Circle flow to the northwest of the property to a 12-inch town main that flows through, then northwest of the property to a 12-inch town main that flows through the northwest down.
Northwest of the property. Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that, is that correct?
I would say,
It doesn't look like it.
from watching the tape, flows through the
I'm never coming to
let's
these
see,
meetings again.
northwest of the property to a 12-inch town main. And then I would strike,
I would take out through anyhow.
that 12-inch town main.
So it just says to Hecker?
Yeah, that flows through the west of the property down to Hecker. So I've got, I'll read it. And then 28 and 22 Thorndale Circle flow to the northwest of the property to a 12-inch town main. I am then deleting that flows through then northwest of the property to a 12-inch town main. And then I am keeping the last three words there, that flows through the scratching out north west of the property down to Hecker Avenue. That, I think, is,
Okay,
yeah,
got another one.
okay.
Under Superintendents Report, Sanitary Sewer Rehab. Hoping, in the last sentence, hoping to start design by the end of summer with goal of putting it out to bid in the fall. What are we bidding on?
Phase 2.
Phase 3.
It's
Phase
actually
three.
phase 3, yeah,
Oh, it's phase 3, not phase 2?
yeah.
So we ought to add that.
So
instead of it, phase 3?
Hoping to start design of phase 3 by
Okay.
the end of the summer
yeah,
with the goal of putting it
yeah,
out.
hoping to start design,
So after design.
say of phase 3, yeah,
Okay, that's all I have there.
okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Susan, do you have anything to add?
No, I didn't. Well, I
Bob,
had
you have
one
anything?
Nope.
that struck an out. It got
Okay,
struck out.
okay. All right, so I have a motion on the
Yeah, I'll
July
make a-
2nd meetings.
I make a motion.
Okay, we go first.
I'll second.
Susan is the second. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, that's 4-0. Second is approved. And then we'll go on to July 9th. Anything, Bob, anything on the minutes on July 9th?
I didn't see anything,
I didn't.
other than the fact that I stumbled through the calling of order. But Reese was here to help me out.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Who's second?
Pete, second.
It wasn't me.
1, 2.
Oh.
All those in favor, raise your hand. That's 3 in favor, all opposed, 0 abstained, 1. I was not here. Excellent, so we got the, and I should say, we have a special guest tonight, who is not normally here, so welcome, Penny, you're like, they call it, you're like the woman in the chair behind the superhero, right? Our woman in the
Oh,
chair.
I was thinking of the wizard behind the curtain.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
With
Well,
the
it's nice to
spreadsheet.
see you live and in person.
Sorry, I'm a little older.
So before we get on to the next topic, now that you've
Yes, sir.
noticed we have a special guest here,
Yes, sir.
as happy as I am for Penny, I'm saddened to give you some news. that
Oh,
she'll
no, I was, wow.
be, she's going to be moving down to Health and Human Services
Oh, okay.
as a promotion, and we're all happy for her.
Okay.
We're sad to see her go.
Yeah.
But she's here for two reasons. One, because I I wanted to give you an opportunity to at least see her, or send her on her way, or well wishes, whatever you guys may do. The other one is, part of her job is to get the rate, scheduling the public hearing out.
Oh,
And she's going to be away for the next couple of days. So
Okay.
she's staying until we decide on what's going to be put in the public hearing, and then
Got it.
she's going to leave. But I do have to send her back to the office to answer the phones, because we don't have anybody in the office. But I did want to give you guys just an opportunity to
Well,
s-
congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're
So
still in
great
the
working
building.
with you all.
you know, you're leaving huge shoes to fill.
I appreciate you saying that.
You did a fantastic job for us. I love the appeal memos. You really tried to organize things. I
Thank
can't speak more highly of you, and I'm sure they'll be happy to receive you in Health and Human Services.
Thank you so much, everyone. I don't want to get teary-eyed, so I'm going to walk away.
I didn't even get to start.
I'm sorry.
So I guess you'll have to send her a note.
It'll be recorded. She could watch it on TV.
That's okay, I'll just, yeah.
Free to move on to number 3?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Couple of sewer meter readings.
Yeah, I've seen the numbers from 3 Thorndal, that happens to be 3 and 6. And there is no rhyme or reason to them. I mean, they're all over. I mean, the meter adjustment has been anywhere, in the last 5 years, has been anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000.
Do we have data on that in front of us? Let's see.
No, I had asked for it. 'cause
Building
I
manager
didn't-
realized the meter was not working, with the meter not working, the charge for location increases, the deduction we made, the building manager is requesting staff to take the average of the last 5 years and deduct that from the consumption totals.
We won't be able to do that till we set the rate, but this is just kind of preempting the,
No, it has.
So I guess
nothing-
the focus is, what information do we collectively need to be able to make an informed decision when we see it again? That's the question on the table, really. So you think that, looking at the,
Well, it was like, I'd have to pull it back up, but it was like like I said, it was between 1,000 and 5,000, the correction from the meter.
yeah, and it should be basically netting out the irrigation water.
Yes,
So
but I tried to look to see if there was any kind of rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find
You
one,
didn't
because I was
discern.
trying to, I was hoping there was a better way than
So what
Then
information?
just taking the
So we
average.
should at least have the information that you saw, which is
yeah, I mean,
if
that
we're
was.
looking at the last 5 years, let's have all that information in front of us.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to, when I asked for it, I was just trying to figure out a way. Because the other issue with it is, it also includes Building 6, which is where the hospital
Yeah.
outpatient is. So if you remember 2 years ago, there was that large spike in water usage due to them having to use it to cool the CT machine.
I do remember that.
So that skewed it partly, but I don't understand why 1 year they used, the correction was 5 times what it was another
Yeah, the
year.
correction, well, to me, well, who knows? I would love to see the information, so let's at least look at the last 5 years of information in terms of what was the water use and what was the correction. So we'll have that in front of us at the next meeting. That'll be in the agenda. But, you know, irrigation, you can go feast or famine, right? It can be a drought, you're watering a lot, to it's super wet, you're not watering much at all, so I could imagine that being a big difference, but we'll see.
Yeah, I just, 5 times seems a bit much. I'm just, that's all, I mean, I'm not saying that an average isn't reasonable. I don't know if there's really another way to do it, but I'm just putting that out there just to put it out there.
Okay. So we weren't able to take a deduction this year, and we're trying to come up with a way to take a reasonable deduction if it's warranted. Is that the basic
Well,
premise?
their meter wasn't
Yeah.
functioning.
Yeah,
trying to preempt the appeal.
yeah. Do something, do
These two
something
in
reasonable.
particular, because of the past history we do have.
Okay.
And then the second one is.
I'm sorry about that. So you'd like us to give you the detailed information on the meter readings that we've had over the last 5 years, would that help you?
Along with the water use, yes.
I
please.
can, either that or I can share it, I have it as a
We'll,
spreadsheet.
we'll put it in
In the
the next
packet.
month's agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you,
Have
Bob.
they ever requested to have it reduced like Gardner Center did, because their watering plants is not actually going down the drain?
That's why they put
Yeah.
the meter in.
Oh, is that the
Yeah,
irrigation?
they
Okay,
put a
got it,
sub-meter
got
on the
it.
irrigation and have that subtracted out of their bill.
Thanks.
Yes, exactly. Anybody else need any more information on that before we move on to the second bullet? Okay,
The second one is Miss Bianco. She was here, it was the, not to, it was the lady with the hearing disability
Mhm. I remember her.
who was here. And according to what I've heard, she put in, it says irrigation meter, but that's incorrect, it's a water meter.
Water meter.
Yeah, you are correct. And she, I spoke with the plumber, they put the meter in so that it doesn't include the outside water either, which is perfect. So whatever goes into the sewer is now what
Metered.
the meter reading is.
And we know when it was activated, so it would have been zero.
That wasn't activated, and I actually called them to make sure that, because I knew this was gonna come up, but a year had gone by, so we don't have,
an
years.
initiating meeting. Do we have a reading now, and when did we get it?
Yeah, to start for
Yeah.
this coming year, but, a
Well,
year
when
has
did we
passed.
take the first reading? Do we know?
July-ish.
Okay,
Oh, so so it'd be easy enough for us, what I would propose,
because at least get a month or two.
I was gonna say wait for a
Okay.
quarter, 3 months, and then, but in the meantime, send her a letter that, you know, she's, that we know that she put in a meter,
Yeah,
and we don't wanna send her, we wanna send her an appropriate bill, so we're gonna hold off until we get 3 months of information to properly calculate a bill.
or why don't, I mean, yeah.
I don't really wanna get her, I think,
I'm
It's-
comfortable with the letter or communication, but I feel like if the information's not available to us when we're sending out all the townwide bills based on our townwide format, we should just send the bill. We can communicate to her, you're gonna get a bill based on the well rate. We know you've got a meter. Once we have 3 months, we can work with you on an adjustment. Something like that. Versus like sending out, 4,999 bills done one way and one bill done another way.
no, I wouldn't, I would just hold the bill back and say that you're gonna wait, if it's July, so it's August,
If it's easy
September,
for them to
so.
pull it out, it may be an automated
Yeah,
billing.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I'd just send out the bills, tell her you know that,
It might not be correct.
and you're willing to work
Well,
with
but
her.
you're gonna have to,
Does that sound right?
if you're
That's fine.
including something like that, you're gonna have to send that out separate anyway,
If-
because the other things come from CompuTel, right?
If we can grab it and
Direct.
take it out, we will. If not, we will go with the route of sending.
I
it out.
trust your judgment, how about that?
The object here is to make sure, the object here is.
As
to-
always, the bill as fairly as we can.
Yep, and not have her have to come here and deal with,
Yeah.
the issues that we dealt with last time, which is communication.
Sounds good. Got it.
So, do you guys wanna see it again?
See,
I don't think we need
Next
to
month,
see.
or
I
can
think
we
as long
adjust
as
it
you're willing
based
to bill
on
on,
3 months?
I'm comfortable.
I'm comfortable with 3 months.
Okay, so
So,
we'll
I
do
mean,
it.
Yeah, yes, I'm comfortable with staff.
You don't
I'm
want to?
sorry, I can't, that I don't want to do. Let's get the information.
Okay.
So we don't bill her in October, we bill her in November or December, but we will bill her. But I want you folks to see the numbers that we get. I think it's.
Okay, we get the numbers
fair.
and then we make a decision.
Okay.
We're in no rush. If we're gonna wait for 3 months to get readings, then we can put a bill together, we can have you guys approve it, and then we'll send it to her.
I'm willing to do the math.
You know you are.
Is that it for item number 3?
Yeah.
Item number 4.
Before we start on this, since Reese isn't here, how much of this do we actually want to go through?
We need to go through it all because we got to set the public hearing.
No, but are we not going to go through all of it in the public hearing?
Well, so the way it works is that we have to submit a public notice in the newspaper, and we like to disclose in the public notice how much the rate could be increased by.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is,
I would like to go through it all, and I don't think we should wait. And if we have to go through a little bit over again, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send Anthony out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's
I gotta tell him that I told him.
self-serving of me because I stepped off a plane 19 hours ago. And I want. and I'm
What
gonna
time
use
is
this
it for
time-
you?
And I'm gonna, exactly, and I'm gonna use this time to catch up.
Okay, I mean, all right.
Yes, sir.
1 second. We didn't take a meter reading at 510 Hoyt Street yet. We will.
Oh, okay,
Okay?
got
Just
it.
had to correct that error.
August,
Thank you.
September, October, November. We're looking.
So item number 4 on the agenda,
Can't you just ask the plumber when he put it in, wouldn't there have been 0?
We could try that. We'll see, we'll go take a reading now, maybe we'll get a difference and we can check it on the 3-month window.
Okay.
all right, we're good on number 3? Hearing no further comment. Number 4, setting of user fee, discussion and action. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, as always, I try to give you folks a plethora of information. This form in front of you, the first page is generally where I start my work and can give you a vast array of different percentages of increases. Based on your stance over the years, I think I've covered the spectrum from 0 to something. So let's go at the top. I showed you the the payments to the city of Stamford. That was not the original budget. The original budget was about $200,000 or more, less than that, but I did have to increase it during the year, starting in January, to cover the increase in their invoice due to them using their fund balance to pay for a project, a $3 million project that we in turn owed about 14% of, or around $450,000. So I had to play catch up. That's where I did it. So the total expenditures is the next one underneath. That does include.
That's a one-time, or that's not bonded, that's a one-time 450 or whatever it was.
I'm still catching up. It's probably gonna take me another year, maybe 2 years to get us back down to 0. And
Okay.
it really depends on the swing of
Oh, so we're
percentages.
kind of on a payment plan with
Yeah.
them, if you will.
Well, I thought that was appropriate since they didn't make us aware of the massive hit that we're gonna take, and they haven't complained yet, so.
Okay.
I will continue to
Chip away.
chip away at it. Which is the theme of the documents you have in front of you, because I'm gonna show you something at the end. That, I believe you folks don't want to pursue, if we wanted to clear it all up in one shot.
Got it.
Okay. Second line down, you see is $4.6 million. That's our total expenditures. If you look all the way to the right, though, you'll see our original budget was 4.4. Big difference, of course, in there is, as I said before, the payments to the city of Stamford. Third line down, our total revenue from operations is 4.5 million. So we actually collected more than we anticipated. And in doing so, closed the gap on what I needed to take from reserve. It ended up taking about $160,000 or $155,000. See, just as an overall, I'd like to show you how much we pay to the city of Stamford in comparison to spending on our system here in town. We're set at about 72%. So in the green box, this is the upcoming year's budget. I did, in that number there is a increase of the payments to the city of Stamford to, like I said, start us catching up slowly. I planned it out as a 3-year plan to try to get back down to 0 again. Again, percentages of flow to Stamford will play a role in that. Capital expenses, as you see, they're down a little bit. Usually I'm up over 200 and something thousand. I had to cut them back down. Sorry, cut them down so that we can make up some of the difference to the city of Stamford, but not hurt our projects that we're trying to do for either our pump stations or emergency repairs or spot repairs for our sanitary sewer infrastructure, wastewater system. And the last box, of course, is the set number. That's the number we're looking for. All right.
The last, I'm lost a little bit. When you
Lost,
say the last
in the
box.
green, the last number there.
Okay.
Total revenue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. got it.
Total revenue
Okay, got
needed,
it.
so that's what we're gonna need. And I tried to show you that the capital number isn't subtracted. It's the 4.6 minus the 124,000 gets you the
Got it, got it, got it.
4.478. So I'm gonna just skip over the rate
Yeah,
comparison
yeah,
for
yeah.
now.
We can go back to that.
Yep, let's go down to the bottom, let's get you caught up on what's happening with our accounts. As you see, we reduced by 3 accounts. That could be simple as some disconnects that haven't been reconnected yet. You see our water usage has dropped by almost 2%. And again, our well use and our average uses, the well rate is gonna be about, 525, 91 CCF for
The average,
residential average.
single-family house
Okay.
usage, yep.
Okay, so, just to give you a picture of what's happened in '24, down in the blue in the notes, FY '24 payments, I made a large adjustment. Budget ended up being, it was originally 2.9, ended up paying 3.2, so you see I tried to make up about 300,000. Total expenditures, operating, I did give you,
So, excuse me.
Sure.
300,000 out of, you said 14% of 3 million is 420,000, so there should be 120,000 left over?
roughly speaking,
Okay.
but our percentages went up, which means our payments to the city of Stamford go up. So we're paying more money, so it's not, that's not all gonna go to the shortfall and, caused by the, drawdown from their reserve fund,
Okay.
okay?
Do we have that number somewhere?
It's,
If you say yes, I'll believe you when we get there.
nah, I don't wanna say yes, because I think the number you're looking for is the pay, has to do with the payments to the city of Stamford budget.
Yes.
And
Oh, there it is. Wow. Yeah, we're going up, man.
okay.
Page 5 of 7.
Yeah, that's going up, but also I don't understand why the water isn't going down.
What water?
Total water, our total effluent being sent to Stanford.
Well, it was an,
We had a lot more rain.
yeah, it was an incredibly
Yeah,
rainy
last year is.
Yeah, but we also did how much, we had half a year of, one of the phases done.
Legal sump pumps.
Really, it was, well, the phase 1 was done more for structural reasons than it was done for infiltration reasons. And phase 2 really didn't get kicked off until January when we started lining the pipes. So we've only had a few months of that, and we've had a ridiculous amount of rain and high groundwater.
Yeah,
So-
we took some big hits December and January, as far as,
My hope is that when we're a year from now, right, because now you're gonna start the clock on July 1, when, a considerable portion of phase 2 was done. And then we're gonna run the clock now 12 months and see what it looks like. So, fingers crossed. But that's a much bigger increase than I was anticipating seeing. That's, yeah. Anyway, well, good. Gives us opportunity.
all right. I can go through that comment page if you want, if that's helpful now, and then come back to the.
I saw the answer to my question, so you move on.
You saw the number?
Yes, 15.17.
15.17.
Yeah.
Okay, so, let's talk about the rate comparison then. Because I have another sheet I want to show you that matches up with this one. So, of course, right now, we're at 7.06 per CCF. And as you see, we don't break even till around 4%. we don't make any substantial headway as either drawing down and with the anticipation of correcting the shortfall to the city of Stamford until we get up to about 5-6%. So I gave you those numbers. I jumped to 7, went to 7.5. I thought 7.5 was plenty.
I have a question,
To see.
Mr. May.
Sure.
How much inflation has there been, in goods and services that you use?
Construction cost inflation.
I mean, it's been up 4 or 5% or 2%?
It's not really construction.
You know,
It's power, it's.
with regards to our budget,
Yeah, I mean,
we have,
prices have gone up and,
I saw a spike during and towards the end of COVID with the utilities, commodities. I budgeted for that the following year, only to see them drop. And that was in heating, fuel, natural gas, and electricity, which the electricity is a big part of our sewer budget.
has that been up in the last year?
That's happened in the last year or so.
I mean, it's,
That's one. And with regards to other materials that we have, we don't buy a lot of, we buy a lot of pumps right now. Or we buy a lot of materials for the pump stations. But the driving force for us right now are our commodities. And we were getting killed at one time with the electric. So that's coming back down again. The pumps have jumped up a little bit and pretty much have stayed there. The only thing that's grown also at the same time is the lead time to try to get them. It takes a longer time to get the pumps, so.
This is why we don't want to pump clean water.
Well, so I looked at so this is my calculation, right? If we look at the difference between our share of the Stamford wastewater treatment plant in fiscal year '23 as compared to our share of the wastewater treatment plant in fiscal year '24, that share went up by, I don't know, I gotta redo it, hold on. Alone, divided by 14.12, 7.4%. And that's 72% of our budget. So 5.35% increase is a direct pass-through, is money going to Stamford, before we even talk about our budget and our costs and how we're controlling our budget on our costs. So yeah, it's a good thing we're doing this project. Whew. I was interested in, because we've been measured with our increases over the years, I would say.
Yes.
And I think if you went back and looked at the last 10 years and compared that to inflation, it might compare favorably, or I'd be curious to how it
4%.
compares. What's that?
I did it last year.
Yeah.
And we were around 4%. We were running about the same as the city of Stamford. It was like 3.9 or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
silly like that, but it was,
Yeah.
they were all over the place.
Yeah.
We were, consistently flat, and then we had to take a jump and
Yeah.
then kind of try to get it back down to where it was consistent and manageable.
Yeah.
And I thought we were doing that. We wouldn't be talking numbers that we're talking now if not for that payments to the city of Stamford.
Those
That-
extra
That
ones.
450,000 is just,
Yeah.
it's gonna loom over our heads for now another year.
For another year, yeah.
Are we paying interest on that, the payment plan?
No.
No. Great.
And for what work was that? Was it to the plant?
It was
or-
part of the plant.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I think
so
an
they made some-
emergency repair that they were doing.
Okay. Okay. Unavoidable things that you've got to pay for.
Well, I get that, but if they had bonded it, we'd be talking about paying it over 30 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the hit would have been smaller to us.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where are we on your
Well,
data dump here?
I try to give you a lot because I have a lot.
Yeah, we always have questions, so it's good that you've answered a couple of them already with the information you gave us.
All right, let's go to the chart. Let's go to page 5 of 7, because I do want to just take you down through this before we start talking about rates, because as passionate I am about rates, I'm more passionate about that data I have in front of you here. You can see our water use data.
Which page are we on? I'm sorry.
We're at
5 of 7.
5 of 7, number 4, 5 of 7.
Definitely slow today. I'll get there.
You know, I like the fact that it's down under 600,000 again. I can see the decrease. That's favorable for us.
I mean, you look at water use, and we've had the graphs in the past that have shown this. It's flat effectively. You go back to fiscal year 19, 599. Now fiscal year 25, 595. So we're not actually using more water, right? It's the I&I problem.
And I think you identify that again with the next set of data, just
Yeah.
below that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's up. Because
Yeah.
like last year, it was less than double. And
And-
now it's, yeah. 50.
And that 54, I mean, I'll directly relate it to the large rainstorms that we had.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you look at the flows, the monthly flow chart, and I meant to put that in here too, you could see, and I'm gonna get you a graph for this too, I'll get you in the next month or so, but you can see how year by year, we have a pretty steady average in certain months of the year, but January, December, January, we got hammered.
Yeah.
We really did. And the identifying factor was near water. You could just see how much water it was taking down there, which takes me to the next phase of our I&I. It's Seagate and Holmes, because both of those charts during those storms, they just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So I have a good plan moving forward, but I think
So stepping outside of the Stony Brook sewer shed
Yeah,
to tackle this number.
Yep, I think when we're done with phase 3, we need to start going after some other low-hanging fruit, and,
Yeah.
you know, again, we'll talk about, as Susan said, we'll talk about sump pumps again, and we'll talk, because those areas are directly related to sump pump draw.
Yeah, because those are more single-family.
Yeah. So that 54 is a large number. I was disappointed, wasn't surprised, just disappointed.
Yeah.
Payments to the city of Stamford, based on our flows, based on our percentage, kind of gave you a back and forth of that.
Yeah.
And then at the
Yeah, I mean,
end,
it seemed like our I&I spiked more than Stanford.
Yeah, and we looked at that with the graphs, I think we looked at about a year ago or a year and a half ago, showed that they have a tighter system than we do. They don't have as much of a response as we do to the rainfall. So when we get a lot of rain, we go up proportionally more than they go up. So we take this hit, from 14 to 15%.
Yeah, and I am coming around to the conclusion that it's sump pumps.
It's probably everything, right?
A sump pump can put, over the course of a year,
Yeah,
500,000 gallons in the system, easy.
yeah.
I mean, understand that Stanford's a bigger sewer system and Darien's smaller, so
But probably per capita, right? Per fewer miles per person.
350 miles of sewer in the city of Stanford,
Oh,
there's
wow.
81 here.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and they're about 5 times
our
bigger than we are in
change,
population.
it's the same number of change, our percentage is gonna show higher. I mean, it's just, in Stanford's system, we know that a lot of it's PVC, a lot of it's newer to the north. So it's down in the city, down in the buildings, down in where they're doing renovations now. So some of their I&I is being resolved by running the new sewers that are down there too. But I just feel that we move a little bit, it impacts us greater,
Yeah.
percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Um,
Move
So-
1% on their side, it's not a lot. Move
No.
1% on our side, it's a lot.
It's a big number.
Yeah, 5.5%.
And then finally, I just kind of gave you the bonding, or how we stand with our bonding right now, where we are with projects. CCTV work, of course, you guys get that in December, we give you an update on how we're doing there, but just wanted to show you how we're spending the money. influx of ARPA money. We literally, almost $1.2 million in ARPA funds. That was a home run.
Yeah.
That's money we didn't have to bond. Which takes me back to my rate comparison.
Okay, can I ask one question before you do the comparison?
Absolutely.
What was last year's capital? I don't like cutting capital. I think that, you know, it's things that need to be done.
Understand?
So what was last year's, is it in here?
It's,
This page. Teeny page. 4 or 3 of 7?
Oh, the tiny writing?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Sewer capital operating, all right, that's not. Is it?
Would that be in here?
I don't see a
No,
one,
these are the accounts.
I don't see a 170
Is it in the budget here?
or be 200.
Collection system rehab, root control, equipment replacement.
Oh.
yeah, no, it's
Was
not
it
gonna
the
give you the,
244, the balance at the end of
yeah,
the 244.90, so basically 245,000?
no. No, the number's not here.
Okay.
I have the
It's-
packet from last year, would that be helpful?
Well, if you have my budget, the
This-
budget, if you have my budget presentation, that'll have the number in it for you.
Did that happen at the same time?
Because it's actually a line
Yeah, it
item in the
happens
budget.
in like.
Oh,
this
no, I
probably
only brought
October,
August
November.
of 23.
No, I won't be in this.
Yeah, so
I'm
anyway.
trying to recall. I know it was a little over 240, 250.
Oh, that's a lot. That's, I mean, that's 70,000 over,
Yeah.
70,000 over 170,000, so that's, what?
35%.
Yeah,
increase.
that's a considerable hit. I really wouldn't agree with that. I just think that working on our systems is
Well,
important.
but we're also doing something that we don't normally do, which is, bonding up to 4, what was the number?
But that's a different part than what capital usually fixes, no?
I agree with you. I don't like cutting capital. I wouldn't do it if I knew there was a direct need at this immediate time to do it. We have not sacrificed any of the work that we've planned to do. And this is not the first time I've cut the capital back to make adjustments in my budget. And the reason I show you the reserves and the account balances is to show you that we do have money in there to do certain projects, to redo the
To
pumps.
dampen the spikes,
Trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to. I don't need to put $100,000 into the collection systems rehab account. I don't need it. Spot account, the spot repairs now are down. We've got a lot of them from the TV, CCTV work. We've identified them and repaired them.
And you're also either, and some of those we're able to successfully put into the ongoing contract,
Correct.
right?
So if that's
Which
the
is
case,
bonded.
if that's the case, what was the surplus from the capital expense account last year?
Surplus from the capital.
Well, you're saying that you don't need 240,000 in the capital expense.
I don't need to put 240,000 back, or I don't need to add 240,000 to the accounts. And they're over like 4 or 5 different accounts.
Reserve,
So
so the
there-
reserve balance
So you're saying there's
in,
balances in there now?
You just identified them, you were looking at them. That 244 is the
Yeah.
balance for CCTV work.
yeah, it's in chart 2.
Okay.
The overall
Sorry, I'm
reserve,
getting old.
That's
yeah,
okay.
their overall reserve
I'm
balance.
sorry, it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Keep adding years, the print gets smaller.
No, that's
So I'm
fine.
on-
I just
I'm on
didn't-
3 of 7 near the bottom where it says reserve balance, so you can look at fiscal year 23, the reserve balance was 2.2. Fiscal year 24, the reserve balance is 2.4. So that's a positive for putting money away.
So when you're calling it the budget, you could literally, there's already money there, you're just replenishing accounts that already exist and already have balances.
Correct. because I'm drawing those accounts down to do pump repairs, spot repairs on the sewer main, things like that.
No, I understand, I just
Yeah.
I missed that previous years, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. And
So
when we
that-
do the budget again, I'll point out to it, there's one line for transfer to capital projects. It's a larger number, but it's actually broken up into 4 or 5 different accounts that it goes to.
Yeah, if you kind of go down row by row at the top of this small one, design for capital equipment. You've got, collection system rehab goes from 110 to 115.
Yep.
You've got chemical root control, okay, that's got a negative balance.
And that's a perfect example of the collection system rehab. So I've added 25 grand to that,
Yeah,
but I already spent 20 of it on a repair in front of the
Yeah.
Stony Brook pump station.
so every day these numbers change.
So I try to,
Yeah.
on my spreadsheet, there's a date that I pull these. So next year, I know kind of the time frame I pulled them, so I can do the same thing.
So you got a little less money in your pump replacement account, but again, you can move around between these accounts, using the top two as needed. It's interesting, that second one has just been consistent. What is that? What is 620?
Design for capital equipment?
Yeah, it's like the fund balance.
Yeah,
I think Bob at one time separated the two for whatever reason.
okay. But really the top two rows are one number.
You add them together, yeah. I asked Jennifer, she goes, I really should put the two of them together. I said, please don't do that. First, you'll mess up my spreadsheet, and second, you're gonna confuse the commissioners. Let's not do that. Even though we don't know what it is, all I know is if I need the money, I actually have to go back and ask for it to be transferred.
Yeah, okay.
So wait a minute, so there isn't, wait, I'm confused now. So the $727,591 has no appointed task.
Correct.
And either really does row one, right?
Yeah,
Sewer
neither one
sewer
of those
fund
two.
balance has no appointed task.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost kind of odd that, it's helpful to know where we're thinking about spending money and making it granular, but really you're these are all pistons that are going up and down and you're using the gas tank at the top.
I try not to touch it if I don't have to.
And I understand that, but so if you have 2.4 million and your annual budget for that section is less than $200,000, you have 12 years of balance there, or 12 years of funds. I didn't realize that's where we were. Okay.
Well, this is the philosophical conversation we have each year, which is
I didn't
what's
realize-
the right amount
I
to
didn't
have?
realize
Where is Reese when I need him now?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were this far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
I can appreciate you saying that, but I always get nervous when that number
It
goes down. It
It's
can
actually
it
kind
go
of
down
funny
10
to
bucks
hear
and
you
I'll-
say that this year, because I've kind of come into this year realizing how old the system is and how much work it does need to be maintained, and it's gonna be an ongoing effort forever,
Oh, no. See, I've turned the other way, that I believe that the rehab is gonna do some, and we now have a purpose with laterals and sump pumps, and that's gonna do even more, and we're gonna make this happen.
Yeah, so that's the, if
And
we
when it
can.
happens, that's when we can reduce the rate.
Yeah, effectively.
No, but
Or just
I-
have it stop going up,
Well, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
like have
Alright.
it stop going up so that we're not taking anything out.
Yeah, I mean, if you just,
That's where we were last year.
Well,
We were like, nope, we don't want to do that.
so I'm
so
kind of,
now,
Okay.
That's
hold
how
on,
I
I
feel.
want to do one more calculation, because right now we
This
have in
is
our,
actually excellent too, just
You
to
like
show
that?
you the big picture.
for now, we have a floor in our contract. We have to pay at least 12% of the cost of the treatment plant, no matter what, right? But that, even without negotiating our contract, that's 3.17 percentage points we can drop. Divide that by where it's at, 15.17. That's at 20, we have 21% of potential savings under our contract on the amount of money we send to Stanford. And the amount of money we send to Stanford
3.4.
$3.2 million, so times
Oh.
3.240,
Okay.
yeah, whatever.
And that
That's
was
a $600,000
200,000 going to the fund, so it's really 3 million.
Yes, whatever, it's $650,000 a year, $600,000 a year, easy of savings that we have the right to grab if we can make a significant dent in this item.
Okay.
All right, that's good. So,
So
Sorry,
we validated again, we're doing all the right things.
we
It
interrupted.
just hasn't helped yet.
We interrupted your flow, sorry.
No,
So, yeah, you went back to
I don't
page
have a
one to
flow.
say,
I have a flow.
so that's how
You didn't like my joke?
Now I get it.
that's how your
Oh, man, terrible.
minus plus calculations were created as they relate to potential rates.
Correct.
So if the only decision we're making tonight is not, we're not picking a rate tonight.
No.
We're only,
A range.
we're basically picking a ceiling tonight, that for, our good faith of informing the public, we're not gonna go above, should we then decide to set a rate after the public hearing. And so that's really the question. We wanna, draft the public notice, and what do we think our ceiling is, going into the public hearing?
Can I just ask one other thing?
Yeah, yeah,
The
please.
Second page, first
When would
page
we-
that you
when,
provided for us, that's if you pay off Stanford
So-
right away?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Still a
sample
little
analysis.
thunder there, but thank you, Sue. Yeah, I wanted you to take a look at this.
Yeah.
Right.
Because this is what it would take for us to pay it off.
No.
Which page? 207?
This one. It's the one that
Oh,
looks
looks
just
the
like the
same.
first one, but it says sample analysis up the top.
Oh, okay, yeah, so negative, 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 all the way through. Yeah, got it.
See
And we
that?
wouldn't get to even until 783.
So, and I gave you the back page to show you what
But,
the
like,
treatment costs would be.
The way I look at it, I guess with my personal finances, I would look at it differently, which is, I got a bill to pay, I want to pay it, and put it behind me, and if I'm taking it out of savings, I don't mind, because I know I have to pay it anyway, right? No, I'm not a layaway guy. But,
And we're not paying interest.
yeah, so, yeah, you just do it reasonable. And again, you're always trying to.
Literally, if you're not paying interest, then you pay it next year. You're paying them less money than you're paying them
Yeah,
right now.
This is true.
I do want to show them good faith in paying it down.
And you have been.
And I think, and I have been, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and
Yeah, you
they've
paid
been,
2/3
they've been
of it.
good about, well, hopefully it's 2/3. I think it's a little bit less than that, but
Well, I'm
hopefully
gonna
they,
throw out
they can see that.
$7.50,
Okay, you're,
because that's
Yeah.
very similar to what we did last year in terms of the reserve.
Oh, and
yeah, trying to find somewhere,
Yeah,
not more than $100,000, somewhere a little bit less, but close to it.
yep.
So I do have one comment left, and then you
Okay.
folks
Okay.
can deliberate the number. The more and more we're working on this phase 2, and you'll hear that further along in the meeting where we are, what it looks like of us wrapping this up, going to the next phase. We've bonded over $4 million right now. And I want to find a way that we can curtail having to bond everything. Kind of, ARPA was nice. $1.2 million in ARPA funds was nice, because we didn't have to pay interest on it. We didn't have to bond that part of the project, and we got more done. So, keeping
Well,
that.
this is
in-
where you get into, I'm sorry, you finish it.
keeping in mind, oh, I'm almost done. Keeping in mind that whatever we can start, and I always try to do this, try to put money away. Maybe it's time to start spending our reserve fund balance on some of these projects. Trying to knock down what we're bonding, so we don't carry this thing out too far.
I think kind of adding that to what you were talking about in terms of what do we have in the reserve fund versus capital expenditures year by year. If we're in a position a year from now where we're starting to see the benefit of the fruits of our labor, right? And that hopefully our percentage of the wastewater treatment plant is going down because we're knocking down I&I, that opens up effectively revenue, annual revenue. And so you could feel a little more comfortable, quite frankly, either bonding a little bit more based on that revenue or reducing the fund balance because, you know, you've got a trend line that's gonna be stable.
I have to ask the question, what rate are we bonding at?
I don't want to guess that, Bob. I thought it was 2 point something, around 2.
Yeah, see,
But
to me.
very good.
To me, at that rate, paying it down doesn't necessarily make sense. It's getting your system tip-top and then worrying about that.
I am interested to see that Ed is concerned about how much bonding, because I kind of feel, as you do, that we've got a good rate, and if we're spending it on an ROI, the math just works, you know, keep bonding. Yeah, but we don't have to make that decision this year, that's the kind of next year decision, or beyond.
See what the ROI is on the result of what we're doing.
Well, I mean, the ROI was mentioned in the presentation last month almost, saying that that's what our connection fee is. That was not right.
That's another point too, is we're going to start seeing some revenue from connection fees next year, moving forward. So,
Well, but they were saying that it was just paying for the water that they were producing. They're not saying it's a connection fee, so maybe we need to put the $500 back with the $750 and make a real connection fee.
Are you proposing a change to our connection?
Yeah, when we get the new business, yep,
Okay.
I am.
Peter, did you have comments? You're good? Okay. Before we discuss,
That's,
I guess we'll, actually, let me go back to the agenda, because maybe we're moving on to number 5.
We have to set it.
Yeah. I guess 4, yeah, we have to set it in 4. So we're not gonna set it until after the public hearing.
we have to set the parameters.
Yes, which is for the notice. So, are we ready to discuss the limit? Susan had a proposal of setting it at $7.50, the notice in the paper at least.
$7.50 or
$7.50.
It's easier if you stay with one of the numbers that Ed proposed.
I can do, that's what I was going to ask.
You can do
You
that.
guys pick a number, or if there's other percentages you want to see, let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll get as close to them as I can.
Yeah, so I like 750 because it was a round number. I was thinking the same thing before you said it out loud, but that's 750 minus 706.
Okay.
Which is 44
44.8.
divided by.
And remember, the
It's gonna be what,
4.
6-1?
tax collector would like us to stay with an
623.
odd or even number,
623.
so that the bills are the same.
A 750 would be a $6.23 or percent increase. So, any thoughts, or Susan, you ready for Susan to make a motion on that?
She can make it, I don't agree with it, but.
Oh, so what are you
I'm-
thinking?
Let's
Lower
do
or
about-
higher?
No, I mean, might as well save it for next month, but I'm about half of that
Oh,
in
okay.
increase. So I
Okay.
mean, it's not higher, so I mean, it's fine to.
So then we can have the discussion, it's just,
Yeah.
won't be greater than $7.
No,
Or whatever number Ed
I
likes.
think we need to stay lower and, you know, be more hop to on the sump pump.
Okay,
Okay,
so we want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we publish the rate won't be greater than $7.50.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
With an increase of 6
I'll
point.
second that.
Possible increase of up to 6.21.
23.
23?
2-3% is my calculation. I'll leave it up to them to check it, double check it. So we have a first and we have a second. Any further discussion on the motion to set a upper limit in the public notice at $7.50 per 100 cubic feet of water use? Hearing no further discussion, I'll take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, there you go. There's your limit. So schedule, when do you want to schedule it? 9/3. Everybody available on September 3rd?
It's like Penny already scheduled it for you.
Yeah.
Is that the day after the 2nd or the day before the 4th?
It's right after Labor Day.
I'm available, good.
I think that's the meeting, right?
That is the regular meeting?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm available.
Okay, do I have a motion to schedule the public hearing for the 3rd?
So moved.
Yes.
Seconded by Bob, all those in favor? All right, there you go, publish away. Summary of appeals, cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh,
Did everybody get
she's
the new
listening
sheet?
in.
Oh,
New
use
one?
the new sheet.
The
Use
new sheet?
Yeah, the ones,
I
the
don't
single.
look at new things.
I know,
Well, I'm glad you give him a hard time, too.
she thought it was, being at her last meeting, that you would be acceptable to the last sheet.
Oh, little goodwill. Does she have any goodwill with you, Bob?
She has more than I can express.
So, yeah, we found a problem with the spreadsheet at the end. There was a couple numbers that didn't show up, so I had to reprint it.
Okay,
The numbers at the bottom did not change from what I understand.
so leaks is most of them.
But some of those leaks, because I went back and this year I'm going to do a much better job, so I don't have to be going back to the minutes. Some of those were leaks outdoors, where they didn't go into
Yeah,
Yeah,
the sewer system.
Correct.
But
The
some of
one-
them did go into the sewer system.
yes, I
Correct.
mean, the ones where you like see toilet running, that would go in it.
Right.
But I mean,
Burst pipe in greenhouse, very unlikely that that one went in.
correct.
And
Hose
hose
left
left
running.
running, hose froze and burst,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I went through these and said, okay, radiator pipe froze and burst, that's very likely in your wall. So,
yeah, but is it gonna find a drain? That's the question. You
in
know,
the
some-
wall,
Yeah,
Well,
like
I'm
it would
guessing
have to
there's
get
gonna
to,
be a shop vac involved.
yeah. It's like-
And they probably dump it outside.
Yeah. Yes, that's interesting. And I know that there's kind of an ongoing trying to find the right balance between user responsibility, you know, in terms of noticing something and action. And I know that that's still something that we're kind of trying to find the right location on, but it's interesting to see that now. WBPH is,
The,
oh, water-based on previous homes, so there were
Yeah.
2 of those. Yeah.
there are only 2 of those, so I was
Yeah.
thrilled with that, because those are
Yeah.
the ones
That are always a
that I
little-
think are fundamentally fair not to
Yeah.
charge.
Well, but then you lose, then,
I know, Bob, that's where
Yeah.
I'm
The
saying.
next year
I
they-
believe it's fundamentally fair not to go after those people, and that's why I'm always like wanting to see how much that is. It's $1,000. That's not
It's
massive.
Yeah, 2 out of whatever,
2 out of all
25
of these,
appeals
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Other,
That's just me. That's how I feel.
oh yeah, we had some, that was just kind of a paperwork problem, was the IO.
Mm-hmm.
And really the green one was a paperwork problem too.
Mhm.
I think this is great. I think we got them down to a really
I'm very pleased.
good place, yeah.
And thankful that she created this, and hope that the new gal will, or guy,
Yeah, we got a system.
will be able to continue it.
Any further discussion on item number 6? Table of appeals.
Nope.
Item number 7.
And just so, this is why we got this paperwork. I asked for it because it's referenced in item 7. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm not reading it.
It's referenced in item 8. I got the wrong one, sorry. My mistake.
Oh,
Okay,
Midbrook.
so let me announce the 7, which is 16 Midbrook Lane, discussion and action. What do we got?
We don't have any paperwork
I have
on that.
none.
Yeah, there's nothing here for that. I don't know what it is.
Gentlemen.
Just, yeah, I know. I need to give them an update anyway. Sorry, folks, just
Doing some business?
Penny stopped by on her way out. She's doing and this goes back to
4 or 5?
4 or 5.
Mhm.
4, where you set the rate at a max of $7.50.
Mhm.
We're also supposed to set the min also.
Oh, the minimum rate.
Um,
What is the shoe?
Minimum would be -1%.
Yeah. So I just figured it and gave it to her. I wanted to let you know that, of what it was. I don't know if you need to vote on it.
Do we do that, do we usually do that incrementally with the, if we're going up 6.23%, we would go up 6.23% on that?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's all I did, gave it to her, but I wanted to
Yeah.
let you folks know that.
okay.
In case you needed to vote on it, I don't know if you need to vote on that or not, but,
No, well, you're saying the minimum that
The-
we could go up would be 0. So
no,
it's-
I'm sorry, the minimum rate, the max it could go to.
Oh, I thought
is-
we also, and I thought,
6.23% higher than it was
once you
previously.
said it out loud, I thought we also had a minimum that we could go up. I thought
Oh,
we set
yeah,
the
yeah,
range.
different minimum, yeah. the
Well, I
minimum-
thought we
minimum
set the
charge.
range, so it's 0 to 6.23%.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, we didn't actually say 0.
Yeah.
But in our posting for the public hearing, she shows the
The minimum
The
sewer
minimum
charge, User charge.
raising. yeah.
minimum
Yes.
rate
Yep.
yes,
charge.
up to 6.23%. So we can take a.
No,
modified
it's,
vote.
there's a number on here, what the 7, it would be the 274.34
Oh, yeah, yeah,
up
yeah,
to
yeah, got it,
that times 1.0623.
yes.
Correct.
Is
That's what I
everybody
just gave her
comfortable
right now, but
saying that that was our intent
Yes.
versus modifying the vote?
Yes,
Everybody's
I-
comfortable saying
Okay.
that was our intent?
I
Okay,
think that was an unspoken intent.
thank you. So we're ready to talk about number 7.
Number 7,
Midbrook Lane.
we have a piece of property there where the folks had done some, I believe it was pool house work, and I'm sorry I don't have a map for you. Tony was giving me information on this too before he left. But we have a property owner, pool house, sewer line, tied into sewer, lateral, without permission, without a permit, so on. What we're asking for is your, not guidance, but your permission to go after them and have them provide us the information needed and so on. He kind of brought this to my attention last week, that we're not getting any response back from them. We may need to ratchet it up a little bit.
Okay. What do you recommend, or is this just an update?
I think it's more of an update, but to kind of give you a flavor for what we're going to be doing next, I kind of believe we're going to be maybe accessing our attorney
Okay.
to get their attention.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
I don't need a vote on that unless you folks want to, but that's generally our process. But when we get these, I prefer to have you hear it from me
Yeah,
than in the
versus-
supermarket from a neighbor or something that may know you.
Yep, okay. Well, thank you for the update and
All
letting
right.
us know what's going on. Any questions about item number 7 before we move on? Item number 8, 8 Outlook Drive.
Want me to do that one?
You can. I think Bob may want to let you know that what we passed out as a document is related to this item,
Okay.
and Darren's gonna give you an update.
So in the package, let's see, under number 8. Yeah, you can see that we wrote a couple of letters to the homeowner. This came to our attention through the
6,
building
July
department.
29.
We greatly appreciate the building department's assistance in this matter. After not getting a response from the first letter, we wrote a second letter. It's getting close to another 3rd month gone by, and Ed thought it was a good idea to put this in front of you.
Okay.
You can see the picture, which shows the sump pump clearly discharging into the sewer, sanitary sewer lateral, what we believe is a sanitary sewer lateral.
Question, just regular mail? Snail mail?
Yeah.
Normal mail, not certified?
He might have sent
I
it
think
certified.
we've done certified and regular mail. for this.
Unfortunately, he's on vacation.
Anthony?
So we usually, I can confirm that, but Anthony will usually send at least a second letter certified, return receipt requested.
Okay.
Did the building department have an idea which plumber did this work?
What's that? The plumber?
Did the building department have an idea who the plumber was who
No.
did this work?
I don't think they were there related to anything to do with what they saw. We've asked the building department to please keep your eyes open.
Right.
So they were probably there for another inspection entirely unrelated to this and snapped a couple photos for us.
I just looked up their record on the tax assessor's card that you can see. And they had done some work in the last few years, so I just wondered if they knew who the plumber was who might have done this work.
Ah, interesting.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Should have thought of that.
Well, private detective work there. Well, I was really looking to see, did they just move in? And they had no clue that this had happened, but that's not the case. They didn't just move in, and they did some work on the property.
Well, and it's not a simple sump pump. I mean, there's 2 sump pumps there. It's not like they just went and, threw a sump pump in a hole, and that also looks like a relatively new sump pump pit, and it's
They bought it
board
from the,
foundation, so it's not an old house, and,
well, it is an old house.
huh?
It was an old house.
And this is an addition because the
Yes, that's what I'm saying to you.
poured walls in a basement are not
That's what I'm telling
a,
you.
well,
That's hard to see from that picture, but anyway.
Yeah.
old.
It
phenomenon.
doesn't matter whether it's old or new, one pump or two.
No, but it's a system, it's a sump pump system with 2 pumps as opposed to just putting a sump pump in a sump pump pit.
So it's a lot of water.
All right, so that's
Okay.
basically an update that you're gonna pursue and inform us about the status of which next month. Any further discussion on item number 8?
I would include what I'm holding in my hands with the part that affects them, so that
Oh,
they,
so next time send them the code,
yes,
highlight the section,
does that sound reasonable?
fine with me.
Pass it on to their lawyer.
Well, and I mean, I think at some point in time you have to put a date that when action will start. I mean, I would honestly think that 90 days from the first notification is a reasonable date.
Agreed.
I mean, we saw the 500 and, it's probably 700,000 gallons of clean water that we sent to Stanford. Might be more than that. My calculations might be off, but this is what's adding to the thousands and thousands of gallons that are going there. So
Over the year, it's like, anyway, bigger than that, yes, sir.
I noticed it
maybe I
says,
got the wrong, it's bigger, it's gotta be bigger than that. My
Yep.
head is,
Yep,
I noticed this
it's gotta be
says
700 million, or 700 million?
section
700 million gallons.
modified.
yes.
How is it modified?
Is
I
that
mean,
what's
was
in
it
blue?
modified? I mean, in other words, do we have to have a legal reading of this?
I mean, up to date?
Yeah. I mean, it's modified and.
This was an assumption, I assumed that
How did you
the
print
items
this
in
out?
blue were the modifications.
How?
Yeah.
I just pulled it off the internet today, or I had Penny
Yeah.
pull it off today.
I mean, was,
You see how some of it's in
in
blue?
other words, this exists now,
Yeah, those are linked stuff. Those
Yes.
aren't-
Yes.
That's from the code of
without,
law.
without, in other words, there's been no changes to this from what exists.
No,
Okay. That was the question, right?
no.
Yeah, no, this is right, it's right out of our code. 4-1 pretty
It's
much
the
covers
first,
it.
it's the first one here. It's talking about, groundwater going into the sanitary
Yeah,
sewer.
and if there were amendments to the section, right below the section, they list the date of amendments to that section. So that particular item, number 4.4-1, has not had any updates.
Right,
But my question is,
okay.
where's
yeah.
the provisions for the fines?
Yeah,
The way the code of ordinance is structured, there's a section on fines,
Fines.
and that's it. It's so, no matter what department you're in or what part of the town you're a part of, the fines refer to that one section.
Okay.
So if it's $25 a day, $100 a day, whatever it is, you go to that section of the code, and that section of the code covers fines for the whole code of ordinances, the way I understand it.
So I would think you need to send them that too, because if I were to get this, I would say, okay, yeah, I can't do it, but you're not gonna do anything about it. Just my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's time to make a stand.
That'll be our first case.
I'm for moving things forward. I
Well,
don't want to be raising the rates anymore. I think it's time to go after more than the low-hanging fruit. We've spent $4 million. I think we could spend $100,000 on some pumps and probably do just as much.
So your question is, you want to see the fee section too, that would,
I do, but I also think it should be included if you're sending, if you're sending out, this is my opinion, if you're just sending this out to the homeowner, it's an empty threat.
I agree, the fines is a
no quarrel.
good idea.
I wasn't, sorry, I'm just saying that needs to go with it, and we also need to, I think you need to mention some kind of a date. Because I think 90 days from the first notification is reasonable. If you're gonna say 90 days from the second notification, if it was with the return receipt, I think that is way past reasonable. I would really go with 60 days, as you put in your, oh, no, you put 90
60
days.
days for what, you know,
Remediation of the situation. It's not a hard fix with plastic pipe.
well, we don't know at the surface, or so if you're gonna take that discharge and bring it to the surface, we don't know the circumstances of that discharge location, right? We don't know the difficulty with which, you know, yeah, you go up to the floor and go out and just spill it on the ground, but we don't know if that's gonna create a nuisance on the downstream neighbor. We don't know the work involved at the surface to appropriately discharge it, right? So.
But so far, they've ignored us, so I
Well,
think
yeah,
the onus.
it's the middle of summer and it's been 2 months, but whatever. So I'm not quarreling that we need to do something about it. I just think we don't need to go full bore punitive on the first person, right? Like let's use it as a yes, let's go forward. Yes, it's time. Let's learn from the process, and you know, we'll continue to adjust it as we go forward. So I agree, I would at least like them to respond.
Yes, exactly.
And say, this is our plan.
That's
And
not a very good.
we can be reasonable about how to effectuate that plan.
I had a sort of a little thought,
Yeah.
very small. What if a person, for example, you know, doesn't have any way of getting rid of the water except in the sewer system, right?
In the sanitary sewer system or
Yeah.
the storm sewer system?
He's saying sanitary.
There's no other way. Could we not have a meter put on and charge them for the water going into the sewer system?
I think that's for down the road. Let's see
It would
what
have
they
to be,
can
Well, I
do.
mean,
it would have to be a full
I mean,
pipe to
eventually-
get a real meter on there.
Well,
done
I
it.
mean,
And,
eventually.
and they would not like the bill, let's put it that way.
And that's more use of our system. And then everybody's gonna wanna do that, and then our system is going to have all that additional water going through it. I think the first thing is to see,
Well, I
can they
mean,
put it
wait a
out
minute,
into
wait a
the
minute.
stormwater system?
You got X dollars now that you're
Mm-hmm.
paying Stanford, right?
Mm-hmm.
And any money you collect for water that you don't know about now,
Is it
right,
extra revenue?
shrinks the amount that you're paying Stanford. I mean, right? I mean.
It's extra revenue. we
Last
don't know about.
resort, that's the last resort.
Yeah,
Well-
it's not impossible. It's not impossible to do that, but I don't know that I would,
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do with a guy, well, when we get to it, but what happens when there is no, he just happens to have Uncle land, he's got the house on it,
yeah.
there's no storm sewer nearby, so he has to put it out on the land, and that causes a further problem, maybe not only for him, but for other
Yeah, there's a
people.
low point
We
in the
already had that on
backyard.
West Avenue. A woman came in, she happened to be a friend of mine, and she'd been discovered to have had this in her basement, and she was forced to put it out into her backyard, and now her backyard's always wet. So we've had this already happen once.
Yeah.
She came in to complain about the rate increase because she felt she'd been aggrieved.
Well,
And this was a couple of years ago. So we've
All
already
right.
had this come out, so I think we have to wait and see
Yeah.
exactly how aggrieved are they.
Yeah.
And then we can come up with a possibility.
I agree, we can't codify it yet.
Yeah.
I agree that it's not something that we can foreclose with 100%,
Yeah.
and it's not something we want to offer as a carrot yet. We'd rather
I
get the
mean,
discharge out.
there are only three possibilities with a sump pump.
Yeah,
Either it goes on the ground, or
goes to a storm
it
sewer,
goes into the storm sewer.
or it goes into the sanitary sewer.
Where's the water going now? Is it going into their 9-foot basement that they installed, that they had to have? Maybe they need to revisit how they are waterproofing their basement. I don't know, Peter,
Well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
That's
that-
I'm not gonna do that.
In other words, somewhere along the line, I mean, perhaps they could use, what's the company, Basement to you, whatever it is, everything basement, to waterproof their basement instead.
It doesn't
right?
work like that.
But, I mean, that's,
You can't, you're
can't-
not gonna retrofit a single-family basement construction and turn it into a ship hole. It's not gonna happen, period. So you're either filling your basement and taking that space away from people, which I will not do.
Well, we each get a
Period.
vote, right? We each
Yeah.
get a vote,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
each have a vote here on the
Yeah,
commission.
And that's not a vote I would ever take.
Okay,
But
we're not there yet. Just-
And we're not
we're
there yet.
ongoing.
Yeah, we're not there
We're not
yet.
No, but just,
Okay.
just for giggles, if you had a sump pump, ran 30 minutes a day,
Yeah.
and it does 30 gallons a minute, you would be billed at the current rate $3,100 a year.
I call that incentive. Incentive
Yeah.
to do something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've done that on a temporary basis.
It is something that is
Didn't we do it
done.
with Corbin, right? Didn't Corbin have to pump some of their water into the sanitary?
I don't think so, no.
I'm not aware of that,
No.
but,
Oh, all
They,
right,
they
maybe
pump
I'm
that
wrong.
into.
there was a
the
house
storm.
that the foundation
it's
filled
storm.
up, and the people ended up extending the drainage system in our road just so they can get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, and while the house was under construction, the foundation was basically a swimming pool, filled right up to the first, where the first floor would go.
Yeah.
So we put a meter on it, and they put a meter on it, and we read the meter, and we charged them for all this time. We told them, if we get a heavy rain, you
So-
can't use this.
It's actually,
That's
you could
temporary.
almost use Peter's idea as the incentive, which is to say, you either have to rectify by this date or install a meter and start paying for it, right?
Yeah,
And then they
right.
start getting bills of $3,000 a month or whatever it is, and they say, oh, I
That's
wonder if there's a better idea here.
I'm just saying
You
that's,
say 3,000 a month or a year?
it would be a year.
But you said 30 minutes a day.
I said 30 minutes a day
Right.
for,
Could be anywhere.
yes, and I said a sump pump doing 30 gallons a minute, you
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
I mean, that's a reasonable number,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But yeah,
Get you some new glasses.
so, because that's 900 gallons a day, that's more than $7
Christmas.
Okay.
of village per day.
Another exam first.
I mean, there's some people who pay it.
So look, we're not gonna codify it tonight, but let's get to the next item, and we'll talk about codifying it.
51.
Item 9, sump pump removal policy, or sanitary lateral inspection policy. So,
Okay, before we even start, I have one quick question to staff. Is this something we pass, or is this something that has to go to a public hearing?
this, well, you answer the question, because I haven't answered the question. This is
Anytime
public
you
hearing.
change the code of ordinance, you have to.
Yeah.
If you change the code,
Yeah.
yes.
This is
If it's a
changing the code
policy,
of ordinance,
no.
not a
Yes.
policy.
No.
If
Okay.
there was something in code of ordinance that said, refer to the policy, you can change that policy without the code of ordinance.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I was imagining that we want to try to put something together that would be in the ordinance. That was what I was imagining when I was typing it, but,
I mean, you have an ordinance now that says you can't do something,
yeah.
right? You can't connect stormwater, groundwater, whatever,
Yeah.
to the sanitary sewer system.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
then
this
this
is, to
falls
me, this is a
under the.
policy that just enforces that.
Right.
That was my
Yeah.
read on this. This was,
so you're saying it's an administrative policy? but-
I think it could be.
Yeah.
And there's another
At
section,
least 1, 2, and 3. 4 might be a
Yeah.
stretch.
That's strong.
there's another section of the
That was
regulation.
4 was a little strong.
that
No,
allow-
4 is not
allows for
strong.
fines.
Not a problem with 4.
Yeah, and then relating it to
I
fines.
just don't know
I'm sorry,
how
what
that
did you say?
falls under over there, but it does, because it is groundwater.
Somehow relating
It would be
it.
coming in from a lateral.
So, can we step back? Because I just announced the item, and I'm the one that typed it up. My thought was that we started discussion, right? That this was not meant to be the final draft by any stretch of the imagination. It was like, throw some ideas on paper and talk about them and say, does this one make sense? Does that one make sense? Would we change this one? Would we change that one? Would we add number 5? So it's here for discussion.
Okay.
That's what it's here for. And obviously, we're gonna wanna get Reese's input also, so it's probably just gonna be on for discussion next time as well.
Okay.
I like it.
Good discussion.
I like it, Craig.
I'll tell you the only thing I would change in it.
Okay,
I don't believe, sorry, and this might come out wrong, but I don't believe that engineers or architects are qualified to do what you're asking them to do.
identify whether or not a sump pump is connected to the sanitary sewer system?
You're gonna tell me a traffic engineer or
Oh,
a computer
okay.
engineer could
Okay,
do that?
So we could say civil or mechanical engineer, right, or something like that.
I still, I
Okay.
don't
You
know.
wanna just do plumber, licensed plumber?
Plumber is where it goes.
Okay, it's fine with me.
I mean, that's the only thing in the whole thing I would change.
Okay.
Other than maybe the penalty, the charge thing, because
Wow.
if you look at the amount of water, it's,
Yeah.
You understand we do not have a plumber on staff in DPW, right?
why do we?
Yeah,
Why do we need a
because
plumber?
we could identify whether it's there or not.
Because we're gonna call them out for it, or we're gonna have somebody check it, or we're gonna, whatever we're doing, you're putting our authority below a plumber.
Quite frankly, I am comfortable as an engineer saying professional engineer because we have ethical standards, right? And one of the ethical standards is not being involved in something that you don't feel you have the experience to do, right? And so I think
Experience or expertise?
expertise. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, expertise.
Just asking,
Yeah,
not being a. not-
Yeah.
But
So, I am an engineer, and I believe, based on the type of engineer that I am, I can go into a house and figure out if a sump pump is going to the sanitary sewer.
Well, I'm a state certified wastewater
Yeah.
operator, and
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure that I could figure
Yeah.
out if it's
Yeah.
going there.
Yeah,
Between looking at the pipe and
Yeah.
putting some dye in a garden hose and
Yeah.
be able to do it, but I don't think, it's not like I want to be listed on here.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's the area of expertise is the plumber. I think there's a lot of plumbers out there.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go any further than that.
Okay,
I
Well,
understand
except
what
But we
Ed
don't
is
have a
talking
plumber, but
about.
we do have
this is not,
engineers.
yeah.
I mean, or we could say, or certified town official, or qualified town
No.
official,
Do you want the first selectman doing inspections now?
qualified.
I think you're
Well, he's
you're
not
hitting on a
qualified.
important word there, which is qualified, but I also think it could be plumber, it could be professional
Inspector.
engineer, or any qualified individual. And that leaves you the opportunity for Bob to go out and do it, because we believe Bob is a qualified individual. We shouldn't take that away from him to do it, because it's not always gonna be a plumber available. There's not always gonna be, I'm sorry, that, some plumbers may not have the knowledge or expertise.
Well, perhaps they
Oh,
could
that's a scary thought.
provide some photographs of the
Oh,
basement,
we document,
because
we have to document stuff.
I think ethical standards are important too.
but this does
And
not,
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
but how do you flush out
No pun intended.
Sump pump that, is not, prior to the zoning or building permit because it's been there a long time, or, never needs, I mean, how do you?
The reason that's, so let's go back to that. So when I say prior to a zoning permit or building permit being issued, I'm just trying to create a moment in time where there is a paperwork process occurring, where someone is asking for something they don't have today,
Yeah.
where they have another checklist item, right? You gotta fill out this application form, and you gotta give us a survey, and you gotta give us a check, and you gotta have this and you gotta have this affidavit.
No, I understand all
Yeah.
that. I understand
Yeah.
that. That's very clear.
Yeah.
But what about, I mean, take for me, for example, right? I've had the house now for 60 years?
Yeah, yeah.
And, since I'll probably live to be 100. But, I mean, it'd be a lot more years where I'm pumping there and you don't know.
Yeah.
What kind of an incentive can we think of, just think of while we're waiting? What kind of incentive
Oh, the carrot.
can we think of to
Yeah.
get people who have that?
So let's,
It's
okay.
already, it's there. It's already
No,
saying that if you don't sign the affidavit and submit it in a year,
Yeah,
it
but
costs
you
Well, you're
gotta
saying, let's say he doesn't want to do an addition. He doesn't need a zoning or building permit.
Right.
So you're talking about how do we get the other people?
I mean, do you
So-
send it, I tell you what, you send out that affidavit to every house in Darien, right?
Yes, all 5,500.
Told you
Yeah.
to get to it. No,
You guys having bets, side bets over there?
We do. We figure you guys are gonna get to where we are right now. I
Oh,
probably
maybe
got
we should
5
just
minutes.
ask you.
What do you mean?
Yes, what do you
What do you guys
I
want
love
to
the
do?
conversation, 'cause
Ed has
where
an
you are.
idea. It involves incentives. It involves
So we're gonna stop
affidavits.
the commission discussion, and we're gonna go to our professionals and say, what do you guys think?
we were hammering it out about two weeks ago, maybe
Yeah.
2, yeah, we were doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
We were getting, just like you were, to how do we create an incentive? And what is the biggest incentive people have? They don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the quickest way to not pay for something, if you're being charged, is to show that you don't have it.
Yeah.
So let's call it for what it may be, a sump pump surcharge is assessed to everyone,
Yeah.
right up until they prove us that they don't
I
have
like
a
that.
sump pump.
Huh.
And
I
we do
like
it
that.
You
every
answer
year.
the phone.
What if they lie?
No, it has to be inspected, the affidavit, there's that affidavit
Oh,
piece
okay.
that we were talking about.
So there'd
But
be
all of a sudden now,
5,500 affidavits.
all of a sudden now, if you tell
That's
me,
all right.
I don't even know what number, but would
Paper's
get my
pretty
attention,
cheap.
maybe $100 would get my
Cheap,
attention,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, get my attention. Why pay $100?
If every year I have to pay $100 because I can't sign an affidavit to
Yeah.
send you back,
Yeah.
well, there's 5,000 customers at
So
$100.
you're going to step 4.
I'm
No, step 4 is the
Town-
camera and the lateral, isn't it?
No, step 4 is townwide affidavit.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
I got them
So
confused.
you provide an affidavit, or the following year, you're gonna have a $100 charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was just one big plan here.
No, no, it's,
Multiple
could do anything we want.
avenues.
It was ideas thrown on a page for discussion.
Yeah.
the only thing I did was I put the charge in front of the affidavit. You're gonna be charged.
Yeah, and
And so a lot of
See,
people
I was already
hopefully like
thinking of
me will run in
logistics
and
of
say,
getting-
not me.
Well, we need an affidavit.
so how would you,
And I'll
how
sign
would
that
you
affidavit.
manage that?
I was already
You have
asking
no idea. yeah.
that one.
We haven't gotten that far yet. We
Summer
didn't-
intern?
That was one of my, I talked to Penny this afternoon, that was one of my ideas there.
Bob might volunteer.
Maybe we hire Bob on the
Yeah,
weekends.
Bob might
but he-
volunteer.
Because we believe he's a qualified individual to do the inspections, he can go and do them.
Wait a minute, you want the onus on the town to do them?
No, you're a volunteer.
I,
Yeah, I'm already a volunteer.
I
I'll help
didn't
you.
put that little piece together at the end. How do
I'll
we
create
get
the
the,
spreadsheet.
how do we feel good about the affidavit, right?
Well, see, I think if you do it, again, like, I appreciate the urgency that folks feel on this issue, because we know it's out there and we need to do something about it. But I'm someone that feels like your trajectory is what matters, right? That you're moving in the right direction, and it doesn't all have to be done in a month. We could have it play out over 2 or 3 years, and we're gonna benefit. So, as an example, you could take 1 year where every month you send out 500, right? So you're sending out 500 notices a month that, by the way, we're gonna add this $100 surcharge next year unless you give us this affidavit. And you send out those once a month for 12 months, and it's a reasonable number, and it's spread out over annually, and you're saying, by the way, this charge is going to come. And however many people throw that away or respond to you, do that, and then at some point, maybe it's 18 months after you started, and that's when the billing cycle starts, that extra $100 surcharge is in for anyone that didn't respond in that first cycle. And then that is, in this version, goes up each year that they don't respond, doubles each year, they don't respond.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, that, to walk it out, it gives it a softer approach.
Yeah, I just
You're
think,
giving people time.
yes.
Yes.
And we,
Having talked to Penny, she's like, don't do it the month of the billing.
yeah,
There's enough questions that month to begin with.
yeah,
Number one.
yeah.
Number two,
do it at
you're gonna,
Christmas,
you're gonna, well, but you're gonna have a lag, because you're
Yes.
saying 5,500, which just happens to be 11 months worth of them.
Yeah,
But if you were to start next month, that means really, in reality, it wouldn't be until 2025
Yes.
that you
Yes.
would start the $100
yes,
thing. So, to me, moving forward now is the thing to do.
yeah.
Because then by 2025, you could get it started. Because October is or really September is the month you need to have everything in alignment to be able to start it for the billing of October 1st.
Yeah,
So
but if
if you were going
yeah.
forward next month, you're not going that fast, but you are starting the process.
Yeah, and when you say going forward, you're sending out 5,000 letters? Or starting to charge people, or what?
No, next month you're having the public hearing so that the month after you could formulate the letter. It's gonna
Yeah.
take a month to formulate the letter.
Yeah,
Then you're gonna have to formulate the envelope, because you're gonna have to make sure that people actually read the letter.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to put some writing on the outside of the envelope.
yeah.
You're gonna need to include
You gotta print it.
you're gonna have to get it printed, you're gonna have to,
This.
you're gonna have to put a return envelope in there, I think, in my opinion. And then you're gonna have to start dealing with
But look,
them
we
returning.
at
So it's gonna
least have
take
to
you
have-
time.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you're saying slowly, but what I'm saying is September 2025, if you're looking at that as some kind of a date, you need to get moving on that now, because it's gonna, month
Did
by
you-
month, it's gonna take
just stop
time
for a
for it to
second.
happen.
I'm not saying let's not work on this for another year. I'm saying, I'm the one that fucking wrote this up and put it here. Like, let's work, apologize, Channel 79, you can beep that out. I'm not the one that is saying, wait, I'm the one that put it before us. I'm saying, let's figure it out, let's adopt a policy, let's go. What I'm not saying is, let's mail out 5,000 letters at once and have to
didn't
deal with
say-
melee at town hall.
I did not say
So,
to mail out 5,000
If it takes
letters at
3
once.
years to get to the point where we've got $100 charges instead of, or $200 charges instead of people complying, that's okay, as long as we're on the right trajectory. That's what I'm saying. And we have to, as a commission, talk about this, have the right words written down, have a policy that's clear and understandable. We have another policy we've been talking about for 10 months, I don't know that we finalized yet, right? Like, so it's going to take time, period. But as long as we're on the right trajectory and moving with urgency, that's all I'm saying.
I just don't see 3 years as moving with urgency.
I would like to suggest we table this until next
Yeah, well, so let's just, so, anyway,
month.
so
Talk about it again after we've all really read this and thought about it.
we had 4 ideas here,
Yep.
and we've certainly heard from staff where they kind of chewed on it, and they were leaning towards idea 4. You were
Well,
leaning,
they were leaning towards putting, and I don't mean it as derogatory, but cart in front of the horse in saying that they're gonna charge the $100
Yeah,
until
yeah.
you get the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah.
I wasn't for that. I'm saying you're gonna have,
Okay.
you
So,
know,
but in big
whatever amount of
picture, it
time.
wasn't about a zoning permit or building permit. It wasn't about a property sale. It wasn't about a sewer user fee appeal. What it was about was treating every user exactly the same, regardless if they wanted something or they didn't want something, and say, this is now the standard, and this is the direction we're going to be moving. So in broad form, that's the idea that these guys kind of fell on after reading these ideas. And so if you had to pick one of these 4 ideas, which idea do you fall on?
I would say you need to do it the fair and equitable way and have everyone, but you also need to do, so it would be the affidavit and the cammering, because I believe that the laterals are also an issue. I don't believe that the affidavit is going to address the laterals.
Okay, so let's split those 2 issues at once. So let's first talk about sump pumps. So is it fair to say that you like the idea of exploring a townwide or a sewer user-wide affidavit program for sump pumps, whatever form that's gonna take?
Yes, and I
Okay.
think it will take
Okay.
months to send the letters out
Yeah.
and get them back.
Yes, I
And I
agree.
think a target month of the year to have it all set is September. So that means next September isn't any, because the
So
billing
do you have
goes out.
Do you have a policy we can vote on?
Wait a minute,
No,
why
but
can't
I'm-
we do all of these things?
Well, I think if we do 4, we don't need to do all of the things.
I like the idea of doing 4 and then also having 1 before a building permit. This catches people moving forward.
Yeah.
Before a sale of property, do that too. That
So
way you
I
have,
think
it's
on
like
step 2,
belt
and this is
suspenders.
where Reese might come in.
I like all of them.
Step 2 is a harder thing, because that's not controlled by town hall. So that's probably the hardest idea on here
We have to get the
to
realtors on
implement.
board, right?
Yeah, and there's gotta be some sort of town
And lawyers.
ordinance and, yeah, so 2 is probably the hardest idea to actually execute. Right, and if you're gonna do 4 anyway, you know,
If you're going to be a realtor selling a house where you know that the sanitary sewer is getting groundwater from a sump pump, then I think that broker should have his name written down, just like we used to do with the guys that cut down the trees.
but where is the mechanism at town hall that requires that to be done?
I don't know, maybe we put a mechanism in.
That's my point.
Okay.
So if we
But I
have
like all-
to,
what I'm saying
if
is
we
I
have
like-
to get an ordinance
Right,
that does that, that's a year away, probably.
okay.
That's my guess.
So we put that one down as the your way ordinance, but
Yeah, yeah.
the more recent ordinances that we can get could be something else.
One is
One
easy,
is
we
easy.
control,
Yeah,
right, with
but it's not gonna
Jeremy's
capture
assistance.
everyone, so how about 1 and 4? How about we talk about it?
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do is find consensus for a direction we might want to move, right? And
I
so,
like step 1. I like step 3. We
Yeah.
have certainly control over that. So you're saying the only one we really don't have control over is step 2.
correct.
So we do step 1, step 3, step 4. That ought to
Yeah.
capture
Yeah.
most of the people.
Yeah. So then
who
there's
are
2
breaking the law.
ideas in here, right? There's one about sump pumps, right? And going down in your basement and seeing whether or not there's a sump pump connected, you know, is a low dollar situation, even if you gotta hire a plumber and pay him $100 to come in and say it for you. What is not a low dollar situation is a video scope of your line. That's gonna cost more money. So.
More, but I don't think it's absorbent. I would think $300-400.
Yeah, but it would be hard to get, I mean, it's hard enough to hire guys that do that and get them to come out when you need them, when you don't have 5,000 people that have the same letter.
But the only time that's happening is during sales.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so that's
It's
not,
not
okay.
everybody has to do it
So
every
you're,
time.
okay,
No,
that's
no,
where
you're-
I was confused.
Doesn't it say
okay.
sale? I'm sorry, I thought it said
Stop talking for a
sale.
second. I was confused because when you brought it up, I thought we were talking about idea 4. All right, but you're saying no where it was in here, at the sale, or when you're using more water. So I had it on 1C, I think, was if you're using more water, You gotta do the video, did I have that in there?
No, you were saying when a house is raised, you need to check it.
Yeah, for.
And then it's also if you're going to sell
And
it,
two,
that it
no, no,
needs to
I had
be
it
checked.
on, I had it on 1B. 1B was if you're gonna be increasing the use of the sewer, you video the inside of the existing lateral. That's 1B. And I had it on 1C, which is if you're doing a knockdown rebuild, if you're choosing to use the existing lateral, you gotta do a video. And then I had it on sale of the house.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Those
No,
were-
I'm not saying
okay.
every single
Oh,
lateral.
okay.
That did not come out of my mouth.
Okay, it was just that you put those two ideas close to each other in a sentence that made me confused.
Okay.
Okay,
So it would be affidavit for 5,500
yeah,
and lateral inspections, I'll say as needed or as they come up.
yeah,
That would be my proposal.
okay,
But what I'm saying is for the 5,500, to me, in my little head,
yeah,
September is the date of each year that you need to have it done. So you need to have a goal year out there. And that's what I'm trying to express,
Yeah.
that we need to have a goal year and work towards it.
yeah,
And what I'm saying is, to me, the goal year is September of 2025.
to have.
To have-
Already have sent out 5,500 letters over
Yes.
the previous 12 months, so that year we send out
And
the
actually
surcharge.
had time to send out maybe
Yeah.
some of the
And I think that
secondary
might
letters.
already be too quick, depending on how fast we can do it. Look, the first step is, this is the first time we've talked about it. The second step is if there is consensus that says, hey, we kind of like this idea number 4, I'm going to push it back to Darren and Ed and say, what would your plan be for executing that in terms of processing that?
Yep.
And maybe you can give some bullet thoughts on that to come back to us in September with.
I'm gonna need to think about that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think, it's the confidence in whatever you consider to be a valid affidavit
Yeah.
is something that we're gonna have to,
And
get out early
Yeah,
to make sure that if by next September, October, we can implement whatever we want to implement with regards to a charge, can be done. So it's
I think
just a
there's-
level.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, 2026, I have the wrong, I've lost it, sorry. 2026,
yeah,
yes, no, I'm,
okay, now I
Well,
agree.
another year.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, I got the wrong, in my head, I got the wrong, I'm thinking this is 2023.
But I just got one little thought here.
Sorry.
Small. The seller shall provide an affidavit stating that there are no some pumps in the building or on the property, prior to the sale, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What if he says, I'm not gonna provide it, I'm selling the house?
Do you think a mortgage?
You would need an ordinance to stop him.
Yes,
We-
that's what I'm saying. That's why I think number 2 is the hardest to.
But we already have one that
teeth.
says you can't put,
Yeah.
isn't this an ordinance here that says you can't put groundwater in?
Doesn't say you can't sell a house that has it.
I mean,
That's fine, but as long as, I mean, we've started, we have an ordinance
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I'm talking
We don't
specifically
have-
about idea number 2.
this is.
No,
this
I understand
affects-
we don't have teeth behind these.
This affects.
Or we
the
don't
sale
know
of
if we have
property.
teeth
That's a
behind these.
different cat. So
I,
you need-
I think you guys are surrounding it. I think you guys have a really good base here. The one thing that's going to drive this is the production of the affidavit, right? If you don't provide the affidavit, you get charged. If you don't provide the affidavit, you'll get no building permit, you'll get no sewer permits. If you don't provide the affidavit, you'll get no appeal. That's what's going to drive people to be compliant.
Yeah, and those are all things we control.
The sale of the house piece is a little bit, honestly, is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But
We
I
have-
understand where you're trying to get it.
I
'cause
know,
it's-
I agree.
Yeah.
But I just, again, this was
Yeah.
throwing ideas
No.
down. Let's discuss them. But I agree.
And once
The
you
video, the lateral is a great idea, and a good way to implement it is the way you have it set up here.
Yeah.
These things are, that's an opportunity, right? You can do it then.
All right,
Yeah.
well.
But
Okay.
you have Reese coming back, I think it's a
Excellent
better.
first start. Really.
All right.
I love the spirited conversation. I'm sorry to hear it's 2026 now, though. I was, Bob, I was ready for 2025.
Yeah, I got the wrong
Yes.
year.
No, I was really, 2025, I was with you.
I like
Oh,
2025.
just
Not,
knowing-
if Penny was still gonna be here, maybe. With new staff on top of it, no.
I think just the speed that we need to develop what the affidavit looks like, develop what the policy actual says, actually putting it down, then getting something generated, then starting to send it out every month. It's just not gonna be ready in 12 months to start charging people. So 2026, I agree.
That's what I meant to say. I was saying the wrong,
Yeah, then we're on
the wrong year.
We're on the same page.
But I also don't think that we should think we have all kinds of time.
No.
I am the world's greatest procrastinator, and I'm telling you, we don't have all kinds of
We
time.
don't have all kinds of time, but I'm not ready to send out 5,000 letters saying you're now being charged unless you. That's what I was
Jump.
reacting to.
Everybody jump.
Yeah.
You weren't ready for that? That was,
I was-
that got me all excited. I was ready.
Okay.
I'm with you, Ed. I'm like, yeah, I'll come into the
You want to
office.
put together a plan that says you can handle it. I'll look at
I'm
it.
figuring I'm gonna be working weekends and nights, so.
Well, if you could have some way where you could have the code on it, which when they send it back, you could just scan, and that went right into the computer as a finished affidavit.
But now we have to hire IT people.
I'm just, I don't know if it's possible. That's far past me.
I think for me, 5,000 is a finite enough number that you can do that with data entry. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I do data work all the time. That's absolutely doable.
yeah.
Well, but you're gonna have to make the spreadsheet, because you're gonna know how, the
Yeah.
people that you're gonna have to send out a secondary letter.
I'm sensing that Peter wants to move on with the,
Yeah. Peter.
the agenda. All right, so continued discussion on item number 9 for next meeting.
Right.
It'll be in the
Superintendent's
agenda.
report.
All right, Superintendent's Report, item A, Phase 2. So we are about 60% complete, and that's only based on our invoicing right now and requests for payments. We've done more, so I think we're closer to 70, 75. I just haven't seen the pay request, the last pay request come in yet, number 5. We're at the manhole stage, the lining, watertight manholes. We're starting to do those. We're getting into the easements. We're getting into some of the manholes that we couldn't get into, so kind of some of the harder work now, we're getting at. We also have the inflow protectors that go in the manholes. Some of those were put in incorrectly. Our inspectors picked up on them. We're having them replaced. So the inspections are actually paying for themselves.
You
So,
mean the plastic bolt?
yeah.
How do you put them in correctly?
Well, when they don't fit, you cut them.
Oh, Lord.
So, since they're supposed to be measured in size properly, and the company makes whatever size you'd like, I guess our contractor did not do that. So, it was caught and it will be corrected. So, that's why we have inspectors, that's why we watch our contractors.
I want to say you're making that up, and this is April 1st.
No, I want to let you know that
They caught
the
it.
money that we spend on inspectors is well spent.
No, I
And-
agree with, I'm just saying.
And I
the
can
whole
tell you,
idea of
Citrus
that-
Form was not happy with their contractor, so. We're moving on.
I mean, that's like, just if something doesn't fit, get a hammer. If it doesn't fit, you get a bigger hammer.
So, Darren, I think you
Wanna do
got,
that
yep.
We still haven't heard from the engineer at 18 and 20. The commission may recall that the commission asked for a capacity analysis. Haven't seen it yet. We were contacted by the installer of the pipe, the Hammernicks. So we've asked the Hammernicks to give us some sort of proposal or any information that they have with regards to the expenses that they put out to put the pipe in, and they agreed to do that. That's it. I notice we have a guest
that's
here, and
moving
I don't know if
forward.
that's Mrs. Hammernick or
No.
No, that's Mrs. Stefanoni.
Oh, that would be the next one.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. We haven't gotten anything from Mrs. Hammernick yet,
Okay.
so that's it.
Okay. C, we had recently a sewer capacity statement provided. We had a couple iterations back and forth. I actually put it in the packet along with my email, so you saw how we deal with what I would call a pretty much a standard request. What we get back, what I look at is downstream pipe sizes, downstream impacts to whether they're crossings to the city of Stamford or pump stations, and then also look at if there are any recent or past SSOs in the area. So that's everything I do, along with asking him to, provide me some basic numbers on flows that are coming from average daily flow and your peak daily flow.
Where's Hoyt Street?
Hoyt Street,
Yeah, where's that?
it runs from
Across
where
from
Phillips used
homeschool,
to be.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Runs all the way up
Runs
to
all the
New
way to
Haven.
the St. John Cemetery and then all the way up to
Okay.
basically just below
106.
Lateral
It's
Railroad
106.
Station.
Yeah.
It's just more of informational purposes. This is probably I'm not gonna say an average one, but it's well within our abilities to review them in-house. And not something that, plus
Plus below that,
it's below that
our
threshold.
set threshold. So
But,
you're handling
as we
it
get closer to
administratively.
that number, doesn't mean that, it's an automatic for me. I do want to do a little bit of research on these things too.
Yeah, yeah, because, we had the thing in the code that said unless we think it's in a area of concern.
Correct.
Which you could identify.
And that was part of the job of researching these, regardless of what the
Yeah,
daily
looking
flow
for
is.
SSOs and things like that, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not familiar with building codes, but so are low flow fixtures building code now?
Yes, they are.
And are garbage disposals allowed in Darien?
I don't believe there's an ordinance or a plumbing
Yeah, if you
code
want,
or anything that prohibits them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you
They're
don't
not a
like.
good idea
I know
for
you don't
sewer
like them. I know they're not recommended for septic systems.
Correct.
But they're not good for sewage systems either.
Okay.
If it's shredded properly by garbage disposal, it's allowed.
Section 4-3.4.
Oh, so it's in here, so we'd have to change that, okay. So that's under our purview.
I don't, well,
What?
I think that's more of a problem for Stanford than it is for us in terms of nutrient loading, and I don't want to start
All right.
regulating garbage disposals in the town of Darien.
It's the same thing as putting flushable wipes down the drain. So you're adding more solids to the system. Absolutely. You're also creating more, you're gonna create more decomposition in the system, more hydrogen sulfide, which is gonna eat the pipes. It's not a good thing. I can tell you as an operator, it's not a good thing.
I recommend food waste composting.
I have a little machine now, a Renkel. Not a Lomi, this actually does composting, it's fabulous. You can't do mango pits or peach pits, those have to go to the town, it's disposal of. Anything else?
Is it in your, is it on your patio or on your counter?
It's in my garage right now, but it cannot be in the garage over the winter because it needs to be
Too
in
cold.
warmer. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's gonna go into a closet. But
Yeah.
it stands about this high, and this one works on a composting principle. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
a good composter.
Yep.
And so you just throw all your food waste in there, and then periodically it gets really full because you've thrown so much in and it's decomposed it, you pull it out, you mix it with some soil in your yard, and you just keep going. I love it.
I mean, and even more so now that I'm thinking about it, in Connecticut, when you do get it to the plant and they make things out of it, they burn that waste. They don't even use it for fertilizer. So in Connecticut, you really don't want garbage disposals.
Stanford has an excellent
So-
program for the food waste.
Thank you for updating us on 10C. Any update on 10D?
10D. We are, there's some current back and forth between the engineers and our third-party review consultant. We're getting close to getting you folks something to see in ahead of the next meeting, so hopefully we'll get it to you ahead of the agenda even, so that you can start looking at it. I've sat in a couple of meetings. It's really some good dialogue going back and forth. We're trying to give them plenty of guidance so that their document is, from what I was able to gather from the meetings, information you folks want to hear, and from questions that you've asked. So trying to guide them down that path.
And if memory serves me right, they basically will empty right into a pump station.
It's pretty darn close, yeah. They will be the closest lateral to the pump station.
So in essence, yeah.
But they plan to reuse waters, right?
There is a recycling process,
Yeah.
and the next meeting, they're gonna come with their consultant to talk about that. I understand they're gonna bring the expert on the car washing system themselves, so have at it and ask them questions with regards to how they do it. But there is a recycling piece to their process.
Oh, competition.
Incentive, it's, yeah, otherwise, if you don't recycle it, you gotta pay for the water and you gotta pay for the sewer.
Yeah, I want to say Splash paid 45 grand for the sewer last year.
Anything else under the superintendent's report? Anything else under new business?
I would like to, but
Peter's getting tired.
it's also 6:30, so I'm willing to push it forward if I can be promised time in the next meeting.
But if there was an agenda item that you would want added, it would be something like, can we discuss the sewer connection fee, the per bedroom sewer connection fee?
Yes.
Okay. So we can put a discussion of the per bedroom sewer connection fee on the next agenda.
Okay. Would you like a copy of the current?
Yes, and I'll also note that the version on the website does not have the current fee structure.
We're gonna check that, Darren.
Yeah.
Is it higher or lower?
It's lower.
It was probably when it was.
It was the last version.
It was $500, then it was raised to $750, which now, for some reason, they think is basically the water remediation fee. And so they don't think that
You've
there's
got
a
a
connection.
craw in your jaw there.
I most certainly do.
Mr. Hill, and I'm the one that ran the calculation that came up with $7.50, and we based it on the fact that it was costing us about $5 a gallon to take care of the I&I. So there was a relationship there.
And
I'm not saying
and I'm
it is
not-
the only thing that you're allowed to do, but I am saying there was a relationship.
And I'm not disagreeing with you that there's a relationship.
Yes.
And I'm also not hiding the fact that at that time, when we raised it to $750.
Seemed reasonable.
No, my ultimate goal was to raise it to $12.50, but I had to do it incrementally.
Okay.
The same way when I got here, it was zero. We were
Okay.
giving it away.
Okay.
We were giving away a membership to the most expensive entity the town of Darien owns.
You don't even have to wear a jacket.
More time.
It's best if you wear long sleeves, though, when dealing with it.
Well,
I feel, Bob, as though you feel I'm somehow adversarial to your goals. And I do not think we are opposed. I think we are moving in the same direction.
When I heard, it's not a discussion for here. It really isn't. It's a discussion for amongst the two of us. Because when it's referred to as basically the remediation fee, then you're discounting the
So do you want to have the
connection fee.
discussion now or not?
No.
Oh, okay, then maybe you should stop.
Okay.
All
Go
right.
on to number 12.
well,
Make it.
in that event, and in deference to the chairman's fatigue, I might say.
Yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
All right. All those in favor?